Hello everyone, I'm Literary Freak 11, and today I'm going to be talking about giants. For the purpose of defining our terms, I'm going to define giants as a humanoid creature that is about 10 feet tall or more, and of subhuman intelligence. Humans aren't meant to get this tall, so what would giants need to do in order to survive in real life? I can think of 3 specific adaptations that they would need in order to be able to survive successfully. First is thicker bones. As an animal gets larger, its bones need to get thicker. I can see this when we compare an elephant skeleton to a cat skeleton. You see that the bones not only get bigger, but they also get thicker in order to support the extra weight. 2, stubby ankles. So this sort of ties into the thicker bones, but in order to support all of that weight, their ankles would need to be very stubby. This is why Godzilla is so much more believable in the black and white version than in the 1998 version, whose ankles would basically snap the minute that he tried to stand up. 3, larger hearts. This would also be tied in with a more efficient circulatory system. Essentially, the problem with people who are, say, over 7 feet is that they often die sooner because their hearts have to work harder in order to circulate the blood. So, giants would need a more efficient circulatory system in order to live out decent lifespans because their hearts get tired, essentially. 4, a more efficient heating and cooling system. As something gets bigger, the surface area to volume ratio also gets bigger. So essentially, when you have a 1x1 cube, the surface area to volume ratio is 1:1. But when you have a 3x3 cube, you have less surface area and a greater volume. And what that means is that it is less efficient to heat and cool all of these things inside you because you have more innards. So this is also true of taller creatures. They wouldn't be able to take in excess heat, and if they were hot, they would have more trouble cooling themselves. And so you see elephants have a natural system, like fanning themselves with their ears, so you would also need a giant to have something like that, either externally or internally. They would just need a more efficient mechanism. A 2007 study by the British Ecological Society compared body temperatures of mammals and birds and correlated them, and within the group of mammals, body temperatures decrease as body size increases within the larger mammalian groups because they can't efficiently take in heat because they have so much extra insides, as we go back to the example of that cube. They may also evolve tougher skin, but I think that at least on their feet, that would be more of an adaptation, like how we get calloused if we walk around barefoot a lot. I think that they would develop those same calluses, only it would be exponentially thicker because of how likely they are to step on something, having their feet be, much bigger than ours. Now, one problem with the giant existence is food. The bigger something is, the more that they need to eat. So where are giants getting all of their food? The existence of giants would likely require a change in the ecosystem. If you had a top predator like this, you would need deer and cattle to reproduce more frequently, as in having more than 1 or 2 per litter in order to satiate their appetite. Pigs actually do have 10 to 12 piglets in a litter, which is enough, maybe, depending on how big the giant is in question. Another disadvantage is that they would be fairly conspicuous. They wouldn't be able to hide themselves very well. Presumably, they would also need to eat magical creatures in order to supplement their diet. But in order to explore this further, we would need to create a food web of magical creatures, and that is a lot of work. But if you would like me to do that, please comment below if you are interested. Another disadvantage to being a giant: walking is actually the least efficient form of locomotion when calculated for calories used per distance traveled. Swimming is the most efficient, if you are curious. This means that giants would need more energy than us, and that number would increase exponentially depending on how big they are. On the other hand, Giants' heavy gait would actually overturn soil as they walked. This would be beneficial to plants for overturning the soil to release more nutrients towards the surface, as well as turning piles of leaves to help them compost faster. Giants may have evolved due to an advantage in hunting. Larger animals would be easier to get, and they would also be less likely to be intimidated by other animals. So how did giants evolve? And did humans or giants evolve first? Giants may have evolved in order to tackle a number of environmental stressors, and they may have been an offshoot of humans. Giants are known to live in mountains, at least some of them, and this makes sense because if you're bigger, you can traverse mountains more easily. Also, consider that perhaps magic caused them to evolve. What if a potion or a Wonderland-esque eat me thing was consumed, and instead of being temporary, in transformation, it altered their entire genetic makeup and became permanent? Their genetics must be similar enough to humans in order for them to reproduce, because we know that they can, in fact, as we see Hagrid, but I think that also in other mythologies, giants and humans can reproduce. This means having the same chromosomal count, or a combined count that adds up to an even number for fertile offspring. Another theory about their evolution is they could have been created through human experimentation by dark magic, and that's why they tend to be drawn to the dark side, as we see in Harry Potter and the David and Goliath story. Interestingly, the Bible seems to indicate that giants survived the flood. And the question of who came first, humans or giants, remains to be seen. The argument for giants coming first, and perhaps this is from an anthropological perspective as well, is there's a chance that giants did evolve first, and then humans evolved to be smaller to either to fill an existing niche that needed to be filled, or else they could have evolved to develop finer skills. Like, for instance, giants probably couldn't knit or sew or any of these skills that involve smaller hands and things like that. So while giants seem to fill the niche of kind of being big and good at hunting and things of that nature, humans involved a more cultural-based society and a more intelligence-based society as compared to their giant counterparts. But there's no clear distinction which came first. Both of these are just evolutionary theories, and you could take your pick as to which one is more plausible. That's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. I put out new videos every Wednesday. Have a good day.